Hello VC, the Waxed here, recording a bunch of videos, but I thought I would do a haul video. This is a miscellaneous haul video. I've got a ton of stack of records here. I haven't been very dutiful on showing a lot of the stuff that I pick up and on a whole, but this is a mishmash. I mostly collect jazz for myself, and there might be some other, it's a combination of estate sale pickups, thrift store pickups, and record store pickups. So if I can remember where I got them from, I will state it as I show it. So let's get going right off the bat. I found a pristine mono OG of this, the Modern Jazz Quartet with Jimmy Giuffre. Been on a Giuffre kick, trying to find his stuff and pick it up. And I have been doing okay. I found that ECM record that's been elusive. The one I got had slight warps, but plays fine. And I picked this up, and it's beautiful. Like I said, mono, OG, it looks like it was made yesterday. Nice, beautiful Atlantic hard cardboard. You know, there you go. And there's the Modern Jazz Quartet, and there's Jimmy sitting in the middle there with, I think that's, I don't know if it's Hank Jones, but you know, Modern Jazz Quartet is Milt Jackson, John Lewis, Connie Kay, and Percy Heath. And this is very atmospheric and cool. So highly recommend it. Although Jimmy's only on 3 songs on here, but very impactful, very cool. His kind of avant-garde style mixes very well with theirs. So it's a match made in heaven, I would say. And I recommend getting that. Okay. That was a record store pickup at Atomic in Burbank. They'll be all mixed through here. This was an estate sale pickup. I went to an estate sale. I saw a large stack of records, a few jazz. It was a long wait to get in. It was a small house. No one was really getting the records, and people felt a lot of the items inside were overpriced. The records were $5 each, so they weren't bad. And I got this OG Clef Records mono of Dizzy Gillespie and Roy Eldridge Trumpet Battle. And this thing sounds awesome. And it's, I guess back then, they had these little factory fresh stickers on there that you broke open. It had kind of a wax paper inner. I tossed that out. But other than the writing of the collector here, where he, same record numbered differently, I guess I know there were a few versions. So Clef was norming Grants of Verve and Pablo. So this record was, I think, reissued on Verve. But this thing sounds pretty amazing. I don't want to take it out of sleeves and dirty up, but there's that Clef. And it's a deep groove. If you could see, there's a deep groove. I have a few Oscar Peterson Clefs, but they've been well loved. It's really nice to hear the sonics on this one. It is pretty nice. So I have a few of these OG Clefs that I picked up, and maybe I will come around to them as I grab them. We'll see. Okay. I picked up this early art Farmer. These early 70s jazz classic series reissues are on these green label. And there you can see Roger Newman. He was a stamper. This is a Van Gelder in the Dead Wax. So I always try and grab those because they sound nice. And for these green label prestige reissues of the early 70s, sometimes they are Van Gelder did the mastering of them, so they sound good. So highly recommend. Let's see if his name can come up on this It's weird because it's only on one side on this one. Can you see it? I can't. I'm looking at the reflection in the camera. There you go. You can see it right there. There he is, Van Gelder and the Deadwax. So, good stuff. Not lighting the world on fire, but this is nice. So, it was cheap. Cheap pickup. Like it. Okay, and that was at Atomic. This is, I picked up a record safari since Bob Bradley was singing the praises of these original chess masters from the 80s. I picked up this Little Milton. Don't know Little Milton, but I listened to one of the, I have another Little Milton I'll show. Of course, they're mixed up and not together. But he's a more mainstreamy sounding blues guitarist. Good stuff. And there's that chess label that they use. Nice. So this was a gold stamp promo. There you go in the corner. All right, nice. Got a lot to show. We'll go quicker. I picked up a Blue Note 75th. I know they're digital. I know they're hit and miss because a lot were badly pressed. They were mastered by Barney, but this is a record that's hard to find. I know you can find the 75th sealed like I did. I picked this up at Amoeba, and it was sealed. I just listened to it, and it sounded good. I have a handful of these 75ths. I think out of all the 75ths I bought, I have one that sounded crap. I think it was Grant Green Moments. I can't believe I'm forgetting it. But that sounded bad. But right after it, they came out with the Classic series, and that was nice. But this sounds pretty good. And there's, for the foreseeable future, it's not coming out as a classic. I know there's a Music Matters that costs like $1 billion. But this is a nice placeholder, and I recommend that if you can find this. This sounded really nice. So I am not upset with this. I guess you could be upset. All right. This is back from the estate sale. Claire Fisher, Surging Ahead. I do have a Claire Fisher Expansions. I'm probably wrong. Something like that is the name. Where he's doing his Lee Evans thing. Lee Evans. He's an actor. He was in Something About Mary. But no, Gil Evans, where he's an arranger and stuff. But this is him leading a trio. And this is a later, I think this label's kind of late 70s, early 80s for the Pacific Jazz. But this sounds good. It's a nice trio. And like this collection, the guy liked to write on his albums little notes. But he's on here with Ralph Pina and Larry Bunker. I know Larry Bunker, who is a drummer. I have several stuff with Larry Bunker on there. So definitely a nice pickup for $5 from the estate sale. Okay, here's the other Clef. This is the OG. This sonically is insane sounding. This is Art Tatum. And he's here with Alvin Stoller, John Simmons, and Roy Eldridge. And this, and there's Norman's name on there. Again, a deep groove Clef and VG+++. I don't want to say near mint condition. This thing sounds awesome. Really does. Man, it sounds like a modern reissue. That's how good it is. It's nice to pick up an OG old record that sounds beautiful, and this does. So these Clef records, the Pablos sound good. So Norman knew what he was doing, Okay, here's an interesting pickup. Eric Dolphy, Jitterbug Waltz. So this is a 70s reissue on Douglas of his it was Iron Man and someone's going to help me that I'm recording this without any notes. I was just trying to go on my things. So it's a combination of Iron Man and I don't know, you're going to get me in the comments, communication, something like that. Here's the interesting thing. I won this off an eBay auction from Michael Hobson's, his archive. So there's the sticker and his signature from Classic Records Archive. Didn't pay much for this at all. I think I won it for less than 20 bucks. But here's the cool thing. Michael Hobson puts his notes on Post-it on here of what he thought. And his notes are right. This thing sounds great. By the way, it's a demo gold stamp. But I was kind of Iron Man and Main Drink and Jitterbug. Well, so okay. I know Iron Man's one of them. Conversations. Thank you. I learned how to read. Iron Man and Conversations. That's what this is too. But this thing, and it's mastered by, in his notes, this is mastered by Alan Zantz. So he was a great mastering engineer that worked for, I think, Capitol. This was Douglas, distributed by Casablanca. But if you ever see this in a wild and nice condition, pick it up. It's a great cheap way to get those two albums. And it sounds really nice. So he was right about this, and I'm glad I picked this up. So it was my first try picking up from his auction. Go on eBay. I think his eBay name is Test Pressings. So, okay, next pickup is one of my favorite record stores here in LA, Record Recycler. I got an OG of Jimmy Smith and Wes Montgomery. I'm on record. I do not like Wes Montgomery on Verve. I feel like he's drowned by these overproduced records. He's a genius, I know, but I know they sold a lot on the Verve, and this is a Deep Groove Verve right there. But this is a good record. Jimmy Smith, again, a lot of his stuff on Verve is not great for me. Blue Note's where it's at for him. But the Cat and this one are, as far as what I've heard, the best. So the dynamic duo, highly recommend picking this up. OG Verve. And I think this is a Van Gelder too. So sounds great. Another record store in LA, San Pedro, PM Sounds. That guy has a great collection of records there. And I found this reissue of this Booker Little record, the legendary the quartet album. There you go. This is a British reissue on Island from the 80s. And it's really nice. It sounds great. What's very cool about this is Booker Little died young. Another person who died young is on here, but it is a killer lineup. Look at that. You got Booker Little, Tommy Flanagan, Wynton Kelly, but the other person who passed away way too soon, Scott LaFaro and Roy Haynes. So Scott LaFaro and Booker Little on here. This thing is good. And you know what? This version, cheap. Definitely under 20 bucks. I think you can get it for like 12 or 15. Highly recommend this. Booker Little also is having a reissue on Candid. So it's a good time to start picking up Booker Little stuff, even though there's not a lot of him as a leader. I do have a bunch of stuff where he's the sideman. Highly recommend it. Okay. Next pickup was a gift from Jim at Record Collector News. It's a odd one. So it's Bill Henderson, which I'm collecting Bill Henderson. Not big into vocal jazz, but he's a jazz singer. You might recognize him because he's he's passed. An actor too. He was in City Slickers and lots of stuff. But he's a really good singer. And this is a very distinctive thing because it was put out on Discovery, but I think Classic Records, it's on Jazz Planet Records, which is a division of Classic Records. So I don't know if this was done as a promo. It's a 12-inch single. On one side, it's both Send in the Clowns. One side's 45 and one side's 33. And it was done by Bernie. you can see in the credits, Bernie Grundman. So that's kind of cool. I do have, this is from the album Live at the Times. I have the full album. Great album. Hearing, I think one of the first Bill Henderson albums is he did an album with the Oscar Peterson Trio. I recommend that album. But I probably have about 7 of Bill Henderson's album. And a shout out to Danny Kaye. He's the one who got me into it. So there you go. All right. So that was a gift. All right. Next, back Freak Beat in Sherman Oaks. I know this got reissued as a triple album, but this is the OG single album of Mingus at Carnegie Hall. Sounds great. Wasn't that cheap. I don't know. I've never really see this, so I grabbed it. I know there's the triple. Maybe I'll pick it up, but this is good. And speaking of Mingus, another Mingus, a twofer. I picked it up at Record Safari on that green label I talked about. This is Van Gelder mastered. Sounds great. This is a twofer of 2 live albums and a killer lineup there. So Charles Mingus with George Borrow, Eddie Burt, Willie Jones, Max Roach, and one of my favorites, Mal Waldron. The 2 albums that make this up are Chaz and Charles Mingus plus Max Roach. I believe Chaz is also a reissue of Mingus at the Bohemian, but I could be wrong about that. I do have Chaz. And I think I do have Mingus at the Bohemian, but I might be wrong. So this definitely sounds better than the reissue I have of Chaz. I forget when that was reissued. But if you see this, pick it up. It is great. I always like it when Jazz is live and then Van Gelder mastering it. It's a steal. Okay. Freak Beat. I found a copy of John Coltrane, Meditations. It is a 70s Impulse ABC on that green label. But this sounds really good. Even though it's a more thinner of these Impulse covers. But it's him straddling the line between free jazz and a little more traditional. And this has his on here with him is his. It's not his. He has McCoy Tyner, Elvin Jones, Jimmy Gerson, Rashid Ali, and Pharoah Sanders is on here too. So that's the lineup, and I like this. It's good. It's not too out there, but has a mixture of free jazz on this. So good. Next, I'm starting to get into picking up jazz soundtracks. So I went to Sound Stations, another record store here in LA, and here I found Slippery When Wet, Bud Shank. It's a Bruce Brown, famous surf movie documentarian, but just a kind of sports documentarian. And when I saw it, I go, black vinyl, awesome. But when I got home, and this was in very VG Plus-y condition, but when I got home, I don't know if you can see, this is, hopefully it might come out, now you can see it. It's on red vinyl, which is the more rare of the two. So, and it's on this, this is not an OG, so to speak. It is a second pressing, I think, but on red vinyl. Kind of cool, right? But it didn't look, when it was in there, I just pulled it out to look and see what, it looked black to me. So it's always a nice discovery when, on top of the fact you found a nice album, it's more rare because it's red vinyl. How about that? Okay. Have not listened to this yet. I just cleaned it. This is from Record Recycler. It's Herbie Hancock Sunlight, but it is Herbie all by his lonesome, just playing everything off of this craziness. So, and you gotta like Herbie when he's dressed like total 70s with that medallion, and there you go. So nice suit. Really into this. So let me know if you have that and you like it. Okay. Still price tag on this. This is Record Safari because their price tag on there is this Duke Pearson. Now hear this. This is Duke Pearson and his big band recording. This is a nice Liberty pressing with Van Gelder and the Dead Wax. So I believe this came out as a Liberty. So this is pretty much an OG of this. So nice. But it's his big band, so there you go. I haven't listened to it yet. Isn't it nice to say that? Okay, let's go. Got a few more here. This is an album I've been looking for. I don't have a grail list, so to speak. I always like to go out and see what I find. But I found this. Serge Shaloff. I hope I'm saying it right. Blue Surge. I've heard lots of people talking about this album. I think maybe I streamed a little bit of it before, looking for it. It originally came out on Columbia. Not Columbia. Thank you. Capitol. It was originally on Capitol. This is with Sonny Clark, Joe Jones, and Leroy Vinegar. But this, I have a bunch of these. This is a British Affinity 80s reissue. And I have several of these, and these sound great. For all intents and purposes, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're analog, but I think I've Chet Baker. I have actually a Blue Note with, I think it's a Blue Note with Jackie McLean. But this sounds great. It does. Really good. Great album. Needs a reissue. Big time. I will buy it. And I've said this on Instagram when I posted this. This is an album everyone should own. I think this is going into a top 10 for me. I don't make lists. I don't do top 10s. But I'm going to say this is a top 10. Highly recommend. Everyone should own this. Okay. All right. At Amoeba, I picked up this. It is a Mose Allison Takes to the Hills. It was released on Epic. But this is a Pure Pleasure reissue. And this was cheap. I believe it was cheap because it's in minty condition. Cover's nice. But here's why it was cheap. Pure Pleasure has nice inner sleeves. It's kind of waxy paper with plastic in line. But here's why it was cheap. There are no labels on it. And they swear that it's the correct dead wax. But it is mint condition. So that's why it was cheap. And I had no problem picking up. Here's how they noted it. There you go. See? So love Mose Allison. If you don't have any Mose Allison, highly recommend you pick up some Mose Allison. That's my suggestion to you. All right. Next, this was from PM Sounds in San Pedro. Hank Jones, Paul Chambers, Kenny Clark, and Bobby Jasper relaxing at Camarillo. This is a reissue. It's on Savoy. The record is clean and drying, so it's got that red Savoy label. This was reissued in the 80s, I think. And it was recorded in 1956. So that picture does not look like 1956 to me, but maybe it was in color. But this is outstanding. This sounds great. And Bobby Jasper adds a nice atmosphere on his flute. So that's what's cool about that. All right, last but not least, I have a CTI, Benson and Farrell. It's George Benson and Joe Farrell. So, and here both of them are on the inner. There's a whole big lineup of people who playing on this. I'm trying to just see if and a lot of these guys I do not know. Don't even want to say a lot of names, but it's on the CTI. I still have to clean this, and it's Van Gelder and the Dead Wax again. Rudy's doing all right by the records I picked up. So there you go, guys. That's a lot of records. Hope you enjoyed this nice long video that I made. I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Do all these things that I request. I would appreciate it. And if you know stuff about the records I don't know, please leave me some comments. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.